The courtroom buzzed with tension. Fluorescent lights flickered above, casting harsh shadows across the room. Judge Meredith Langston, a woman known as much for her steel demeanor as for her controversial rulings, adjusted her robe and glanced down over her gold-rimmed glasses. She leaned into the mic and cleared her throat with theatrical pause. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell to get notified for more, share to friends. Where are you watching from? Please tell us in the comments. We love seeing how far our story goes. All rise, the bailiff announced as a young black teenager walked in, hand shaking, escorted by his public defender. He couldn't have been more than 15. Skinny, wide-eyed, clearly terrified. His name was Jordan Miles, a sophomore at Westside High. The courtroom doors closed behind him like the jaws of a trap. Judge Langston let out a chuckle, sharp, cold, deliberate. "So, this is our alleged tech genius who hacked into the school system?" she said mockingly, her voice laced with arrogance. "Looks more like someone who can't even spell computer." A few people in the courtroom chuckled nervously, not because it was funny, but because they'd seen how Langston wielded power ruthlessly. Jordan's attorney, a seasoned but underfunded public defender named Marissa Green, stood her ground. "Your Honor, I must object to the tone of your statement," she said, voice calm but firm. "My client is here under presumption of innocence." Langston raised an eyebrow. Objection noted and overruled. Jordan kept his head down. He didn't say a word, but his eyes burned with something stronger than fear, resolve. The prosecution launched into its argument, painting Jordan as a reckless cyber threat, claiming he bypassed firewalls and accessed confidential files for fun. No solid evidence, just circumstantial claims and tech jargon meant to confuse. But Judge Langston seemed convinced. She leaned forward again. "Well, Mr. Miles, do you have anything to say for yourself? Or are we wasting more of the court's time?" Jordan finally looked up. His voice was soft but steady. "I didn't do what they're accusing me of, but I know who did." Laughter rippled through the room. Langston rolled her eyes. "Oh, let me guess. You're going to say it was someone else, maybe a ghost in the machine?" "No, ma'am," Jordan replied. "It was my coding teacher, Mr. Hallberg. He used my account to access the files. I built the program, but I didn't deploy it. He did." The room went still. The judge's smirk faltered just a bit. Marissa leaned in. "We'd like to present video evidence from the school's own server room, recently recovered by Jordan's older sister, an intern at a cybersecurity firm." Langston's gavel hit the desk hard. "You have what?" Marissa signaled to a young woman in the back, dressed in a plain hoodie and jeans. She walked up, inserted a USB into the courtroom display system, and played the footage. On screen, a grainy but clear video showed Mr. Hallberg entering the school's server room late at night. He was seen plugging in a device, then typing furiously into the terminal. Jordan's student ID was used, but it was not Jordan at the keyboard. Gasps filled the room. Langston leaned back slowly, face tightening. "Pause that." The prosecutor's jaw dropped. "Your Honor, we weren't informed of this footage." "Because you didn't look," Marissa snapped. "You were too busy building your case on stereotypes and assumptions." Jordan stood still, chest rising and falling. He didn't gloat. He didn't smile. He just stared straight ahead. Langston shifted in her seat. "Miss Green, I'll need to verify this evidence with the court technician." "Already done." Marissa cut in. "Timestamp verified. IP logs cross-checked. This boy was framed." The judge's face turned pale. Her gavel wavered in her hand. "Young man," she began, voice quieter now, "why didn't you speak up earlier?" Jordan's answer was simple. "Because no one would have listened." Silence. Langston looked down, her facade crumbling for the first time in years. She reached for her water glass, hands trembling. "Case dismissed," she whispered. But it wasn't over. Jordan's sister stepped forward again. "We've also submitted a formal complaint," she said, "to the Judicial Ethics Committee. Your Honor, your courtroom bias has hurt dozens of innocent people. Today, the world will see." Within minutes, reporters outside the courtroom were broadcasting the footage. Social media lit up. Hashtags trended. Hashtag justice for Jordan. Hashtag bias on the bench. Hashtag reform now. That same evening, Judge Langston's face appeared on national news, not for her rulings, but for her ridicule. And Jordan? He walked out of that courtroom free, but not bitter. He turned to the cameras and said something that would be quoted for days. Just because someone's young or black or quiet doesn't mean they're guilty. It just means you have to listen harder. The lesson struck deep. In that courtroom, a child taught the nation something adults often forget, that justice isn't about power, but fairness. That truth speaks, even when the system tries to silence it. And that you don't need a gavel to make change. You just need courage. Moral lesson: never judge anyone by their appearance, age, or race. Prejudice in positions of power corrupts justice. Everyone deserves to be heard, especially the ones we're quickest to dismiss. Society must do better, because ignoring bias only deepens injustice. If this story moved you, inspired you, or even made you think twice about the people we often overlook, don't keep it to yourself. Share this story. Talk about it. Let it spark a conversation in your home, school, or workplace. And if you want more real, raw, and powerful storytelling that entertains and enlightens, make sure you follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because these are the stories that change minds. And maybe, just maybe, change the world.